Okay.
Hi, ladies. Ali and I are so excited to provide this training for you. We are going to chat through leaky gut, which I know does not sound super fun and sexy, but it's so important that we provide you with this education, with these resources, and with these actionable items. If you are not familiar with Ali, she is our brand new mentor for November. Ali is a mom to two sweet little boys. She's also a licensed acupuncturist and a certified personal trainer. And she's been a personal trainer for over 11 years. So she and I both have been in the industry for quite some time. It's her mission to educate women about the importance of health and to empower them to be healthy. She's also really passionate about education because there's so much misinformation and confusion out there. And so she's excited to provide you guys with some resources and some actionable tips, as I mentioned. So Ali, we're thrilled to have you. Thank you so much again. And on the training today, we are going to dive into leaky gut specifically, and then through the month we're also going to touch on boosting immune system and some other items related to women's health. But if you can, go ahead and define for us in layman's terms, what is leaky gut?
So basically leaky gut, in terms of gut health, firstly, there's kind of two different things. There's like your microbiome, which is the bacteria, the good and bad. And then there's what we call like the tight junctions in your intestines. And so you want those to be super tight so that not a lot of huge particles get through them. And what happens is sometimes they become a little bit looser junctions, and other like bigger food particles or pharmaceuticals or things like that can get through there. And then that's when your body's immune system attacks them as like foreign invaders. And so that's when immune system stuff can start, autoimmune disease, your gas and bloating, all of those other kind of bad symptoms that women get.
Yeah, and ladies, you know this about me, but we'll kind of let Ali share her story too. I personally struggled big time with leaky gut. And in fact, Ali will tell you that most women have some level of leaky gut, or at least seem to be cognizant for, improving gut flora, healthy gut flora, and so forth. After having Emma, I developed some major food sensitivities to the extent that I would be training clients in the gym during lunch or after work, and I would be doubled over in pain. It felt like someone was just tearing apart my intestines. And at the time, I was having like Subway sandwiches and wheat thins and mini wheats and a lot of gluten, a lot of dairy, a lot of eggs. And unfortunately, realized I had major food sensitivities. And then after having Cole, Ali and I have actually shared this on a podcast episode. I had strep 5 or 6 times the winter after having Cole. I was on antibiotics for 61 days that winter, and it really aggravated my symptoms of leaky gut. And only recently have I truly been educated regarding leaky gut and how to resolve the issue. And I've been working really hard to heal my gut, and thankfully I've had amazing results and feel just so much better. But Ali, tell us just a little bit about the main symptoms of leaky gut, and then also the common causes of leaky gut.
Yeah, so symptoms can be so wide in terms of gut health. Most people think of them as like digestive things like bloating and gas and diarrhea and constipation and heartburn, things like that. But they can be things like low immunity. Like Amanda said, she had strep throat, and I actually have a 2-year-old, and after he was born, I had strep throat like 5 times as well, and I've never had it. And I attribute that to both adrenal fatigue and gut health issues. So low immunity, chronic infections, things like that are common. Autoimmune disease, if you have any signs of that or symptoms where you're having like joint pain, there's so many different ones out there like Hashimoto's or rheumatoid or psoriatic or psoriasis. That's always leaky gut at some point. Your body is responding to those particles that we talked about where they're getting through those junctions. Headaches can be any skin conditions, like even if you have kids and you notice they have eczema or rosacea or things like that, that's usually a sign of poor gut health. Joint pain, brain fog, there's just so many. Fatigue, hormonal imbalances, things like anxiety, depression. There is so many that goes back to your gut. And I think studies are released nearly daily about the importance of your gut and how it's like your second brain.
Unbelievable. But why is it that most of us have never been educated regarding this until someone like you and me is willing to say, like, hey, gut health is super important. Also, we should speak to the benefits of gut health for burning fat. It's really important that you don't have leaky gut if you're trying to lean out. And that's
Yeah,
something a lot of
totally.
people don't realize too. Yeah, totally agree with you. The headaches, when I had major, major leaky gut, I was getting a lot of headaches as well. But the immune system, the negative side effects of the bloating, the gas, and all of that. And so many of my clients in the VIP program came to the Faster Way with those symptoms. And
Yeah.
so I'm just really excited to be educating everybody about this. And it's funny because sometimes my clients will say, like, well, hormonal health, that doesn't apply to me as much, or, adrenal fatigue, it doesn't apply to me as much. Leaky gut, each and every one of us needs to be cognizant, and we need to be putting in some action items or some very tangible steps to improve our gut health on a regular basis.
Yeah, totally. It really does impact so many things. Like people that come to me with thyroid issues, if you're not being able to convert T4 to T3, that happens in the gut. Yeah, nearly everything goes back to that. And we all do need to be super careful because we're being exposed to so many toxins and kind of subpar food, although your ladies are doing a great job with their food. So that's good.
Actually, that's a perfect transition though, because I was just going to ask you, what are the common causes of leaky gut? And we've already kind of mentioned a few just from our own personal journey, but let's pinpoint those exact causes so my ladies can say, like, aha, that is why I have issues with my gut health.
So things like poor diet, obviously it's huge. Things like rancid fats and too many poor sources of carbohydrates, too much sugar, too much salt. Those things are also are all kind of poor food sources and can affect gut health. Things like most pharmaceuticals do. Birth control is huge. Yeah,
Interesting.
for affecting gut health, which then can affect estrogen and progesterone and all kinds of different hormonal imbalances too. And so I think a lot of women come with all these like hodgepodge of symptoms and things, and they all are very tied back to like one source generally. It's just getting somebody to listen to you and figure out what that source is. So pharmaceuticals, chemicals, like things in our makeup and personal care items and things like that. We want to really avoid things like parabens and phthalates. Those molecules are not helpful for gut health. Just really trying to just keep it clean, basically, is super helpful.
We've already mentioned the antibiotics. I imagine that is a huge culprit.
Yeah, definitely antibiotics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for me, I have always been kind of anti-meds, but after having cold and getting strep so many different times, I'm like, okay, put me in the antibiotics. And I just couldn't get over it because of the full-blown adrenal fatigue, in addition to, everything else. I was building a house and the whole thing, ramping up a business. But anyway, yeah, it just totally ruined my gut lining. It was awful.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a lot of pharmaceuticals in my life as well as a kid, actually. Things like proton pump inhibitors for heartburn, because I was having all those food sensitivities as well, and I would get heartburn and indigestion from it. So that's what I would take, would be like Nexium or something like that. And then antibiotics, like had chronic sinus infections, which is also a sign of impaired gut health. And taking antibiotics just kind of further puts you in the rabbit hole.
What about pain medication like ibuprofen? Does that negatively affect the gut lining as well?
Yeah, like NSAIDs, which is non-steroidal. Yeah, like Advil, Motrin. Those things are hard on the gut, and unfortunately, Tylenol is super hard on the liver. So.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think that also was a big part of it, because after I had cole, I developed a hematoma, which is like the most painful blood clot I've ever had in my entire life. And I was on like Motrin and the whole thing. So I think that probably negatively impacted. This time around, I'm like, don't even give me Tylenol. Like, I'll be fine. Okay. So We'll see. I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the solutions, or even if my girls are like, okay, you've been describing some of those symptoms and I don't necessarily have those symptoms. What are still some really important action items that every single lady in my VIP program needs to be taking in regard to gut health?
So number one, obviously, is probiotics. And Amanda and I were actually talking about this. So there's a ton of range of probiotics. And kind of the best way, in my opinion, to do probiotics is to take like your bottle and then switch to a different brand or a different formula of it. Because we all need there's so many different strains of probiotics, different amounts and all of that, that we need to get more than just like lactobacillus, which is in like the typical like culturelle and things like that. There's a bunch of different strains of that, which are important for gut health and immune health and skin and women's health, like if you have yeast infections or things like that. So we want to make sure we're getting a broad range of probiotics. It depends on kind of your symptoms and things, but people who have like severe gut function can take like 50 billion CFUs of probiotics, which is huge, considering most probiotics have like 3. So again, talk to like a medical professional about that to determine what would be best, but you can take a lot of probiotics if you're having major symptoms. The other thing that's huge is to take like some collagen. That's huge right now with like Vital Proteins has a collagen supplement out, or you can just take bone broth. That's like a huge kind of buzzword, I guess, going on right now. But drinking bone broth is huge for helping restore that gut lining. It also has like glutamine, collagen, a ton of vitamins, minerals, enzymes. So bone broth is an amazing food source. You could just drink organic bone broth daily. You could buy it at the store. You don't even have to make it anymore. So that's huge, making sure that you're getting clearly like good quality food and not a bunch of toxic chemicals and stuff in your food is also huge. So those are like simple, actionable items that I like to tell everyone to do.
I should have brought my bone broth in here and also my collagen. So what I typically do, ladies, is I drink my collagen with my supplements. So I'll break my fast, put my collagen in some water, drink that, take my supplements. I also take Just Thrive probiotic, but after chatting with Ali today, she recommended that I switch that out every 3 months because this actually has 3 billion cells and it's the bacillus whatever, and you know more about that than I do, but this is a really good probiotic. It's been phenomenal for me, but I see exactly what you're saying about having, a variety. I also sip on kombucha. Now I'm pregnant, so I'm like really having kombucha in moderation. And then I have bone broth every day too. And I get that at Publix. They just started offering it at Publix. I actually purchased it so early that it wasn't even in the system yet. I was like the first one to clear the shelf of the bone broth at Publix. And the lady at the front's like, we don't even have this in the computer yet. But yeah, those are really, really good. Now, a lot of people say yogurt. I personally don't do dairy. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I don't love dairy either. Dairy creates inflammation. It can create issues for a lot of people if you're prone to colds or have like sinus issues and things. It promotes phlegm in your mucous membranes and stuff. So I don't love dairy. If you're going to do dairy though, make sure that it is full fat, raw dairy, because the like culturelle or some of those ones, they put just tons of sugar in there. There is, yes, probiotics in it, but it's far cry from a health product in my opinion.
That is so true. And we're talking, this month too about improving immune system. Obviously something packed with sugar is not going to be the answer there.
No, it's not, definitely not my favorite for sure.
And then you had mentioned something before we started the training from Amazon for Jarrow. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that's the probiotic. There's so many great ones out there, but this one is called Jarrow, Jarrow. Okay. And it's just simple. Like they're in a lot of health food stores in the refrigerated section. So it is a refrigerated product, which means they're live. They haven't been treated, and you could get them on Amazon also. And they have just so many different formulations. You can get things like if you're having like chronic UTIs and yeast infections and things like that. There's like women's health formulas for that. There is gut health formulas. There's immune health formulas. So there's so many different ones, and you can get up to 50 billion, I think, CFUs in there in a so.
That's really helpful. And you said that's JARROW.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. My final question is, if we have kiddos, what's the best way to help our kiddos with gut health? And the reason I ask is because Emma's not going to be, swallowing one of these, and she's probably not going to be loving the kombucha. So what's the best way to help kiddos with gut health?
So yeah, if they will drink kombucha, that's huge. They're probably not going to go for the fermented foods either. I give my kids like a kid's probiotic every day. There's like gummy ones, which you kind of have to weigh the sugar with the benefit, because that's just the reality of the kids supplements, unfortunately. But there are kids ones, or there's like little hard, like chewable ones. So those are good too. But mostly for kids, just keeping their gut or keeping their diet clean and healthy is huge. If you, which I'm not going to get into this too much, but if you had a vaginal delivery and breastfed, your baby's microbiome or your kids is pretty darn good, or should be. And so they may not even need a probiotic, but if you're noticing like they're getting sick a lot, you just want to boost their immune health, or they're having like eczema or things like that, then just give them a probiotic.
Okay, perfect. And we'll do a follow-up training with a live Q&A later this month where we talk specifically about how to boost immune system, and then we'll address that a little bit more for the kiddos too, because a lot of the girls in the VIP group are moms. But Ali, thank you so much. This was really very beneficial, very, very helpful. And again, I think that most of us just don't realize how many things our gut health truly affects, and how to actually put some steps in place to improve gut health on a consistent basis. So thank you so much. Ladies, if you have any questions at all, go ahead and post those right here in the thread where I uploaded the video. Ali and I are happy to answer your questions. I'll defer to Ali on many of the science aspects of leaky gut. But thanks so much again, Ali.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.